Hey everyone, I am here to try to walk you through the famous cheesecake number 17. If you belong to any Instant Pot pages on Facebook or if you are on Pinterest at all, you have come across people raving about this cheesecake. I will post a link to the recipe down in the comment section. I believe the website is actually pressurecookrecipes.com, but like I said, the link will be down there. Take a look for it. Um, if you have a chance, read the article. There is a lot of helpful hints and tips that they give you to make the cheesecake successful for you. I'm changing a little bit of it. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is prepare our pan. Now, this is a 6-inch push pan. It is a push pan because you can push the bottom up out of it. That a lot of you are familiar with springform pans, but you have to worry about the buckle then having enough room to fit in your Instant Pot. This is, like I say, this is only a 6-inch pan. 7-inch pans are very hard to find. There seem to be so many stores selling Instant Pots during the holiday season, but none of them thought about carrying accessories. So if you can find yourself a 7-inch push pan, grab it because they are few and far between. But luckily, they include on this website the instructions to use the 6-inch push pan. So you're going to start by, we need to grease the pan. Since you have to push the cheesecake up through the pan to release it, you need to make sure that you have it well greased so that it releases. Now on the bottom, I am going to put a piece of parchment paper. However, I'm still going to grease the bottom of the pan because that will give the parchment paper something to stick to. So I took a piece of parchment paper and traced the bottom of the pan and cut it out so that I can put it down here in the pan. Now, if you follow the directions on the website for this, I'm going to go ahead and grease the parchment paper also. But if you follow the directions on the website, they suggest that you use parchment papers along the side of the pan too. I'm not doing that only because I tried the first time I made this recipe and I don't know, I guess I'm klutzy. I had a heck of a time keeping the parchment up along the sides, so I surrendered and did not use that. All right, we're going to set this aside and we're going to work on the crust now. I have my oven preheating to 325 degrees. One of the first options you run into for this recipe is you can decide to either bake your crust or not bake your crust. If you bake the crust, it seems like it is a little bit crispier. From preparing the cheesecake in the Instant Pot, you have such a moist environment because of the pressure, the water, the steam, that your crust can get a little more on the soggy side. It's not bad, but I prefer having a little bit more crisp crust. So therefore, we are going to bake this. So I am going to use 3/4 cup of graham cracker crumbs. One tablespoon of brown sugar. pinch of salt. Now, if you were doing this and you weren't planning to bake it, then your last thing would be melted butter. Since I am going to bake this, I'm going to also include 2 tablespoons of flour to help it crisp up. Now we want to mix that up before we add our butter. Now, this is 3 tablespoons of unsalted melted butter. Use your fork to mix this up to moisten your crumb mixture. Going to look like damp sand whenever you have it all mixed together. Once that is all mixed up, that gets poured into your push pan. Now, you can take a spoon to push it down, or you can use, if you have a cup with a flat bottom, you can use that to start pressing the crumbs down into the pan. It's okay if it comes up a little bit up the side. That's fine. You don't want it up. It's okay if it comes up to like here. You don't want it up real high because once you pour the batter in, if you have any crust that is not covered by the batter, that will get soggy. So the batter will help protect the crust. So it's okay to go up the sides a little bit, just not a lot. Okay, I used the cup to push the bottom down. I'm going to use the spoon to go in and just push it against the sides a little bit. Okay, when you're all done, so what you should have, this goes in the oven for 15 minutes. Hi, I'm back. It's time to go on to the next step of our cheesecake number 17. The crust is out of the oven. It has had a chance to cool off. It's still just a little warm, but that's fine. So our next step is to get the batter ready. I have in this bowl 2/3 cups of sugar, and we are going to add 2 pinches of salt, and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Okay, now we want to mix that up really well. The secret to getting a nice smooth cheesecake is to make sure that your cream cheese and sour cream and eggs are at room temperature. If you try to make this recipe and they are not, That's when you could have like, it won't mix well. You could have globs of sour cream or globs of cream cheese in your batter, and it's not as good. So please make sure that you have everything at room temperature. All right, I have in here 2 8-ounce containers of cream cheese, room temperature, and the time to actually read all the hints and tips for Cheesecake 17. They suggest that you use a hand mixer. A stand mixer can be too powerful. If you whip the batter up too much and get air in it, then you're going to get like a puffy, almost like a souffle, and you do not. That's not what you want. We're trying for a dense New York style cheesecake. So I do not have a hand mixer. I only have a stand mixer. So we're going to make it, keep the power as low as we can and mix it as in short amount of time as we can so that we do not get a lot of air. So the first step will be to go ahead and just mix the cream cheese on low for about 10 seconds or so, just to break up the cream cheese and get it to start creaming. The next step is we're going to add half of the sugar mixture that we have into the bowl. And then we're going to beat this for about 20 to 30 minutes, just until the sugar is incorporated into the cream cheese. And now we add the other half. And the same thing. Beat it on low until you get the sugar mixed into the cream cheese. Next up is half a cup of sour cream, room temperature. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And again, low speed, just till mixed. The final thing that goes into the batter are 2 eggs. I have 2 eggs here. Again, room temperature. And we're going to add 1 egg at a time. this is where you want to be really careful about not beating it too long, because you don't want to whip the eggs. You don't want to beat the air into the eggs. And number two. Okay, now you can always, and that's what I'm going to do here. Once I'm done, I'm just going to take my spatula and make sure that the eggs are completely folded in. Looks good. Slide this back, take our cheesecake pan, and we're just going to pour that into our cheesecake pan. Now the next step, you want to try to, if there's air bubbles in here, we want to try to get out any air bubbles. So we're just going to drop it a few times on the counter. That also smooths out the top. And I can see a couple little bubbles there that came to the top and popped. All right, let's get this ready to go into the Instant Pot. Okay, I'm here with the Instant Pot, getting ready to get the cheesecake in. One of the more awkward things is to try to get a hot pan out of the Instant Pot. So to help us be able to lift our cheesecake out of here, we are going to make a sling for this out of foil. And to do that, I have a length of foil, and I'm just going to take it and fold it into thirds. That will make a sling for the cheesecake. When we pull it out of the Instant Pot, we'll be able to lift it with the sling. Now I have a little over a cup of water to go in here. I have the trivet already in. Since this is a 6-inch pan, we're going to set the timer for this for 33 minutes, but we're going to do this a little bit differently than what you've seen me do before. I'm going to set it for 33 minutes, but we're going to leave the lid off of here until we see it start to boil. Once the water starts boiling, then I'll put the lid down and lock it so that it can start building up pressure. The website for cheesecake number 17 suggests that this is a better way to do it, because the condensation that forms on the top of the lid and rains down, that can cause dips in your cheesecake, so it's not as pretty. They say that if you do it this way, it won't have as much chance for condensation to form before it comes up to pressure. For my seal, I have a red seal in here. The reason I have this red seal is the one that I regularly use, they tend to pick up smells from the recipes that you make. One of the first things I made in the Instant Pot was a Mississippi pot roast, and it left a really strong smell on the seal. I've tried different things to try to get it out. One of the suggestions online is to keep it in a baggie full of baking soda. That does not seem to be helping. I do see someone suggests laying it out in the sun, that would take care of the smell. Since it's the dead of winter, well, it's not really the dead of winter, but it feels like it today. That's really not an option right now. So, this, as it gets warmer, I might try to lay the seal out in the sunlight and see if that takes care of it. But my way around it is I just went online and got some colored seals, and that way I can use different colors for different things. So I know the red I'm going to keep back for any recipe, any sweet recipe, so that I do not have to worry about the smell. I don't think the smell would leach into the cheesecake, but I don't want to take a chance after all that work. So red for me means for sweet recipes, and that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and put the sling down in here so that we have this to take, so that we can take the cheesecake out when it's finished. Put the cheesecake down in. Now, we're going to go ahead, I'm going to fold this down in so that it's out of the way. All right, now we're going to set this for 33 minutes. And we're going to wait for the water to boil before we put the lid on. The directions do say that once you see the water start boiling, you need to get the lid locked on quickly. You do not want, the water is evaporating as it's turning to steam, so you do not want too much water to evaporate, or there won't be enough left to bring the Instant Pot up to pressure. So let's give it a chance to start boiling. Okay, it's been 3 minutes now, just so you know. I can see it's starting to make steam. There are very small bubbles on the bottom, but it's not boiling yet. So we're going to wait a little bit longer because we do want the water to boil. It's been almost a little over 4 minutes. It looks like it's boiling, so we're going to go ahead and lock it down. And hopefully it will come to pressure quickly so that not as much condensation has a chance to form. So once it comes to pressure, we have 33 minutes. I will see you then. We're back. The cheesecake finished, and it's been sitting here for 9 minutes doing that natural pressure release. I checked that there's not any more pressure in there. So we're going to open the lid slowly and hope that not a lot of condensation has fallen down on the cheesecake. There is condensation on it. Let me get these up here to use. I can see, let's see how with the sling you can lift that up out of there because it's hot in there. I'm going to lift this up so you can see better. I don't know if you can see that it's pushed down in there. That is water sitting on there. That is what caused the cheesecake to dip down in right there. So we're just going to dab at it and try to soak up as much of the water as we can. The directions tell you to let the cheesecake sit Well, we're going to let it cool off here. We're going to let it get, going to let it cool down. And once it is cooled off, we'll put it in the refrigerator. The directions say that you should let it in the refrigerator for a minimum of 4 hours, but that overnight is even better. And that's what we're going to do. Like if you would taste it, or even if you smell it, it's a little more eggy than what you think of when you think of cheesecake. So once it sits in the refrigerator, it changes everything. It changes the consistency. It becomes more dense. Starts smelling like a cheesecake. As it cools down, it'll start smelling more like a cheesecake. Now I have most of all the water I can see. I have that soaked up as best I can. I don't want to break the surface. All right, let's let this sit for a while and start cooling off. And we'll look in on it before it goes in the refrigerator. All right, see you soon. All right, we're back with one final check-in on the cheesecake before it goes in the refrigerator. You can see that it has pulled away from the edges as it is cooled. I'm going to take this knife and see if I can go around the edges very gently, just to see if we can loosen it up. I'd like to move it to a container before I go to bed. Oops. All right. This is just a small Rubbermaid container, but the cheesecakes fit in here nicely upside down. You can use this as the base and put the lid over it. I'm going to push on this a little bit on the bottom and see if it's loose. It does seem like it's loose. The easiest way to get these off of here is just gently, 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 gently. There we go. Now, I'm going to grab a spatula, if I can find one, and see if I can get underneath the the parchment paper is still on there. Tomorrow, when it's cooled down completely, I'm going to try to lift this up and see if I can get the parchment under it and pull that out. It's still a little delicate because it's warm, so we're going to wait, and we'll cover this up, put it in the refrigerator, and tomorrow we'll check on it and see how it turned out. All right, I'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you. Hi everyone. I'm back. I have the cheesecake here. It's been in the refrigerator overnight. Take a look at it. Now remember, it did sink here. That's where the condensation dripped down into the cheesecake while it was in the Instant Pot, and took paper towel and just sort of dabbed at it when we brought it out of the Instant Pot. So let's cut it and see what we have. Well, the crust seems firm. Does not seem like it is soggy. Oh, remember that piece of parchment paper is in there. Let's see if I can get this out. First piece is always the hardest to get out. There it comes. Looks good. Taste test. That's wonderful. Cheesecake 17 is it's a keeper. It's a very good cheesecake. It's I don't know what to say. It's just really good cheesecake. Um, I'll go ahead and as I said before, I will put the link to the recipe down in the description. Give this a try. I mean, this is good. If you like cheesecake, this is really good. Thanks a lot. Talk